Hello again, everybody. This is Dr. Rob Lindsay with Vallejo Health and Wellness Center, and this is today's root cause of the day. And I really want to share my own personal story that really is what got me excited about doing the kind of work I do here. And so I'll just take a couple minutes and I'll share this story. So about 7 years ago, it was September, and I had been out in the backyard at home, and I had been pulling some weeds. And I went to pull one weed in particular, and it didn't budge. And then I realized that it wasn't actually a weed; it really was a root, a small, thin root from a tree that was way over yonder. And I didn't really think much of it until the next morning when I woke up and I could barely move my neck, and there was a shooting pain like a lightning bolt from my head all the way down my right arm. And on top of the pain, my fingers were numb. It was the weirdest sensation. Well, I'm a chiropractor by training, and I remembered about trying to pull on that weed, that root from the day before, and I thought that I had really actually injured a disc in my neck, because people ruin their discs by doing even lesser things than that. Well, so I came into the office, and I have the resources here. There's 2 other chiropractors, and I could get adjusted, so I did. I could see a massage therapist, and I did. Meanwhile, the pain was excruciating, and I could not bring my head past about right like this. In other words, if I brought my head back like this, the nerves were being pinched, and it would send this lightning bolt down my right arm, and so I had to walk around like this. Days went by. I was getting adjusted. I could not even hardly lay on the table face down without having my head like this. Weeks went by. I'm trying anti-inflammatory natural substances like herbs. I am getting adjusted. I'm using a cold laser on my neck and down my arm. I'm getting massage. I even went to see a functional neurology friend of mine way up in the northern suburbs who did some other types of laser and a fancy type of traction called decompression. I'm telling you, it was the worst. It was weeks, it was months. And the worst part about it was that it was affecting my job as a chiropractor trying to adjust people. But more so, it was affecting my home life, because I'd get home from work and my little kids, I have 4 boys, my youngest especially, he wanted to wrestle with me. And I couldn't do anything with him. I couldn't pick him up. I was constantly in fear that if he bumped my head, the lightning bolt would shoot down my arm. I resorted to buying my own home traction unit. And my only reprieve when I left work and went home was to lay on that traction unit where it would distract my neck for about 15 minutes. While I was on that little machine, my neck felt better and the lightning bolt was gone. But as soon as I let off, I had to cringe because it was going to bring it all back. So let's fast forward now a full 11 months now. It's August of the following year, and I'm still suffering with this thing. And I really thought I was going to have to go in and get surgery. And I did not want to do that because surgeries fail a lot. I happened to be at a seminar in San Diego, and I was studying the very system of analysis that I use now. It's called field control therapy. It's a system of unique bioresonance testing that looks for hidden toxins and infections. So I was taking the graduate level courses, and I'm sitting there trying to listen to the lecturer, and I'm so uncomfortable because I can't look up. I've got to keep my head kind of like this, and I'm moving around. And one of the other guys that was taking the coursework, he says, "Why don't you have them test you?" Meanwhile, my mind is thinking, it's a blown disc. What are they going to do? But on a break, I went in and I laid on a table just like the tables that my patients lay on. And in a matter of about 10 minutes, my mentor, the guy who taught me this stuff, did a test on me, and he said, it's not a blown disc. He said it's your nerve root and it has glyphosate in it. Glyphosate is Roundup. And I got to tell you, my first thought was, this guy's out of his mind. Okay, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then all of a sudden it was like a flashback. And I remembered that same day that I had been pulling on that root, I had actually spot sprayed a couple of thistles with Roundup. Now listen, I know better, right? I know we shouldn't be using that stuff. I don't want thistles growing, so I sprayed them. The wind wasn't blowing. There was no reason for me to think that Roundup was going to get on me. I didn't get it on my skin, but you don't have to. You see, those little tiny particles can get into the air. You could breathe it in. I don't know how I got it, as far as breathing in or it got on my skin. Regardless, when he said that, I remembered and I thought, man, maybe there's something to this. So he proceeded to make me a protocol of these remedies. I came back to Minnesota, I did the drops, and within 10 days, all of it was cleared up. My arm cleared up, my neck, I had full range of motion. It was all gone. I know, as God is my witness, that there's no coincidence to this. I took that as that this is a miracle, and I have to learn it. And that is what kind of propelled me to continue to do field control therapy, to use it as a system of analysis to find deep hidden poisons, toxins, metals, and infections that don't show up on routine blood work, that don't show up in other types of lab testing, that would only show up if you had a biopsy done. And you'd have to do a biopsy on all the tissues, because how would you know where it is? The point is that to find the root cause, you have to have the right tools. So that's one of the things we do here. So if you are suffering from some kind of a chronic health problem and you're not getting answers, come in. There's hope. If you can find the cause and get it out, the body can heal. Remember, God made your body with the ability to heal as long as there's no interference. So I hope that this made sense to you, and I hope that you learned something today, and that's today's root cause of the day.